forward to this computer. All right. Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Danielle Lewis, naturopathic physician, and Cambria Dickerson, our lifestyle and nutrition and coach and herbalist that we have. And so we are starting to enter into the time of year where everybody's thinking about the holidays, right? Even though I feel like the holidays start earlier and earlier every year. Like I feel like the day before Halloween, there was already Christmas decorations out at the grocery store. But so our stress about the holidays may be starting a little bit earlier each year. And so we're in the business of wanting to make sure that we're supporting our patients through whatever stage of life that they're in. And stress is a big one that comes up for both of us with our patients. And the holidays don't help that at all. And so, Cambria and I were talking the other day, and we're like, man, we really need to get together and put together some tips and everything to support our patients for the upcoming holidays. And so, one thing that, we have this title, the holidays are coming and we don't want to, surviving the holidays and not sabotaging yourself during the holidays is what we're going to be discussing today. And usually for most people, what that sabotage looks like is that, you're overspending. I've actually been listening to a lot of very interesting budgeting podcasts about kind of like how to avoid overspending during the holidays, but we'll save that for another for another talk too. And then, overeating, or at least maybe not staying in alignment with our nutritional goals that we've set up and maybe been working on throughout the year. And then just not prioritizing ourselves or putting ourselves first is a big one, especially, for those that maybe have children or family, or maybe you're taking care of family members, or just in general, maybe, work picks up. We're in the last, quarter of the year. And so for this time of year before people take off for the holidays, work can be that primary stress point. A lot of times people are triggered around this time of the year because of maybe things, family expectations or different things like that. And so we just want to give you guys a couple of tips today on how to survive and not sabotage and get through on top, basically, right? And so I think that a good starting place is probably talking about that self-care, because I feel like how we view ourselves and how we take care of ourselves has such an impact on everything else. I always tell my patients that we don't give stress enough credit when people are like, okay, so the root cause of how I'm feeling right now, from why I'm not losing weight to why my eczema keeps flaring up or why my autoimmune keeps flaring up, is like the stress that I'm under. And that stress either is managed or goes away. And lo and behold, they feel better, or whatever, they're experiencing as far as a flare up improves. So I was just curious, Camber, you had some really cool ideas. So what were kind of some things that you suggest for your patients and clients?
For sure. So, for one, I definitely want to say it's important that you practice self-compassion. Kind of like how you're talking about your patients, or our patients may sometimes get frustrated with themselves, may feel like they're not meeting their goals like they would like to. It's just all about being kind to yourself, taking that time to not talk against yourself, but to still know that although this is a stressful time, you can do the best that you can to prevent any feelings of inadequacy, or that you're not good enough, or that things are happening against you and not for you. So just being able to recognize when these thoughts come up and just still showing grace, still saying, that I have made it this far because of this, still being able to celebrate those small wins and just avoid that self-criticism is very important. Just so you won't get into that hole of negative thinking against yourself, going down the rabbit hole, we call it. So practicing self-compassion, I think, is important, especially around the holidays where you may trip up on your health goals and you may overeat a little bit of cake or pie, or feel that you're not taking your medicine as you should. Just practice self-compassion, be kind to yourself, and then get back on track.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Um,
often, oh,
yeah.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
just to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, I often tell people that like you come to us and you're kind of here, and then your
Mhm.
goal, we have these lofty goals that are there, right? And the path there, like you're still moving in the right direction, but there's going to be ups and downs, right, along the way. So it's just, I like what you said about just being kind to yourself and understanding and recognizing that.
Yeah, it's important. Healing is not linear. There will be ups and downs along the road, but as long as you're still consistent and you're still showing up for yourself daily, that's the important part.
Absolutely.
Another thing that I would like to say is to practice mindfulness and some sort of relaxation practices. As you stated, sometimes we get around those family members that we may not have seen in years, or friends that we may not have been around in a long time that may trigger us either emotionally or some type of mental trigger. So just being able to take that time away from these crowds or these people in order to make sure that you're still in a centered space with yourself. So just being able and stay connected to the present moment, I would suggest things like meditation. There's apps like Calm app or I think Insight Timer is good as an app for something that can help you with meditation. They can be guided. Some deep breathing exercises can really help. So doing some counted breaths or box breath, we call it. You count, breathe in, hold it for 4 breaths, breathe out for 4 breaths, then do it around again. It's a box breath and things like gratitude journaling. So this is the perfect time for that. It's the holidays, it's Thanksgiving, so you want to know what you're thankful for. Being able to do some sort of gratitude journaling can help reel that back in and just be able to share that feeling of gratefulness.
Yeah, yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. It's amazing how many of us, especially when we're stressed, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, that we hold our breath. Like we literally hold our breath, or we literally don't take as deep a breaths as we should. And there's an organization called Heart Math where they actually will track people's heart rates, and they may come in with like either elevated blood pressure or elevated heart rates, and they have them do what we call diaphragmatic breathing, which is another technique that people can use, which is similar to like the box breathing, but just kind of focusing on the diaphragm and the vagus nerve, which is the longest nerve in our body, just for a fun fact. That plays a role into getting us into that parasympathetic or that rest and digest state that a lot of us just quite frankly aren't good at existing in. And it takes work to get there, but they literally have shown people be able to lower their heart rate, and or their blood pressure just by breathing, which is huge,
Mhm.
which is huge. So yeah, it's the breathing techniques is one that I do recommend, and it's free. And it's, and it's something that, I always, when it comes to people managing stress, it's like, what do you have control over? Like, what can you do? Because you can't control cousin, right? Time cousin is making you mad and have with their own issues. You can't always control that unless you choose not to be around them. But in these moments, what do you have control over? And breathing, there's a lot of great research around the benefits of breathing. So I like that. That's a really good tip also.
Yeah, and just to bring up a case that I was just working with, she deals with some stress from family members connecting with her or contacting her, and it kind of sends her into this state of anxiety. So I just suggested some breathing practices to her to keep her grounded throughout her day. Anytime that it may come up, she's just able to go to her breathing, kind of do these practices that'll get her back grounded to her centered self, back focused on that present moment, and kind of just allowing that moment to pass and not really go into that rabbit hole of just that negative, that downward, or that feeling of dread that she may be experiencing when she has these stressful thoughts come up.
Hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. And then I think, was this the same case that you had some herbs or some of your favorite herbs that you like to use too?
Yeah, so definitely for stress or relaxation, a good herb that I like to talk about is lemon balm. This is really good for anxiety or this overthinking mind that you may deal with. It just helps with quieting your overactive mind and also just helps with making you feel a lot more grounded and relaxed within yourself. It helps with any feelings of melancholy, so it actually can uplift your mood as well. So lemon balm is specifically an herb that I would like to suggest for stress, nervousness, and anxiety.
I love lemon balm. And like if you have the actual plant, because you rub like the leaves or whatever, it has like a lemon, and even just like the aromatic oils, like, and just smelling that can also help to improve your overall
Yeah.
sense of well-being too. It's one of my favorite herbs.
So, the very last tip that I have for around the holidays, which I think is one of the most important, is learning how to set boundaries or not to overexert yourself. Okay. There's a lot of plans, a lot of people, a lot of things that are happening around you, but you want to make sure that you are not overcommitting because that can actually lead to burnout and more stress. So, just learning how to protect your energy by sometimes saying no.
Mhm.
And just being able to not to do anything that you feel is an unnecessary obligation. So this means that it's okay to take time to schedule some downtime for yourself or to say no to this commitment that you may not have had time for, but you wanted to take that time to relax. That is okay. It's just learning to communicate these boundaries and let them know that this is something that you still need for your peace of mind.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like the word of the season, right? Is boundaries and having those. And that could even be like boundaries with yourself. I know that we were talking too, just even from like a nutrition standpoint, because that's another big thing is like if you've been working with us, you probably have been working to like get your gut health into order, because that's one of the foundational things that we work on and create these habits. And it's like, do those need to go out the door? Because you got to have that whatever it is, fill in the blank, just because it's Christmas or it's
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. And I do think that there's ways to help with that whole nutrition piece of it too. I've had patients in the past that that they're feeling so good. Like I have a patient that she had lost a lot of weight leading up to Thanksgiving. She had figured out which foods worked for her, but she was entering into this scenario where it's like her family members were not on the same health journey as she was. And so she was afraid of going home because everybody's going to be like, why aren't you eating? You're too skinny.
Mhm.
She's like, there are
Yeah.
all these things that a lot of times our patients are dealing with, or it's like, why are you eating like that? Like it's like almost like they're coming down on them. And so she did a lot of the mental preparation. She allowed herself 2 dishes to indulge in when she
Mhm.
went. She ate prior to going, her a healthy meal so that she didn't feel the need to overindulge while she was there. And then she mindfully enjoyed the food that she gave herself permission to have, and then she got back on track the next day. So she didn't let that totally throw her all the way off of her game. She enjoyed her day. She said
Mhm.
was very intentional about everything. She made it. She survived. She was very proud of herself on the on the opposite end of that. And then she
Yeah.
got back on track the next day. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that for sure.
No, I love it. To me, it's just like about setting those parameters or those boundaries around your indulgences. Just being able to say, hey, I know I usually eat a whole pie of sweet potato for
Right.
holidays, but maybe I'll just take 1 or 2 slices and not take the whole pie. Just being able to create those healthy boundaries so that you don't throw out your goals.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So it's simple. And I feel like that's one thing that sometimes we feel like, perfection. Like if we're not doing something perfectly, then why not do it? This is also a time of the year. I know people like to wait until January to kind of set their health goals.
Mhm.
I'm in my podcast season, so I'm gonna mention podcast. I was listening to this other podcast where they were saying how there's a day of like they didn't use the word sabotage. I forget exactly. But basically, people's goals are given up on by like January 8th. Like January 8th is like
Mhm.
people are like, oh, they start off on the first, they make it 8 days, and then most people are usually give up on their goals by the 8th, which is why, we encourage our patients to kind of start now and incorporating little bits, go little bits of healthy habits going into the holidays so that then so that you're creating more sustainable, like I know in my treatment plans, I actually don't like the word diet. I like the word, sustainable nutrition plan for my patients because we want to make sure that whatever plan that we put you on, it's something that you can continue to incorporate without feeling like you're just kind of giving up everything too. So if you would like to work with either Cambria or myself, we both offer 15-minute discovery calls where we can make sure that we are a good fit for each other before you invest with us. There's no charge for the discovery call. And you can go to our website and either put in a form or you can call our office also in order to contact us and to get scheduled for that appointment. Did you have anything else tidbits that you want to leave the people with
Just
before we
make
get?
sure, yeah, just want to say, just make sure you have fun and enjoy your holiday season. Prioritize yourself and your wealth and your goals. Just making sure that you're still taking care of yourself and not just taking this time to overindulge, but taking it with a sense of gratitude and just taking your time through the holidays.
Agreed, agreed. Well, it's always a pleasure, Cambria. And we're gonna make it through the holidays too, right?
Yes, yes, we will.
Absolutely. All right.